All right, how's it going, everyone? So, one day under the belt of Corona University. Um, I don't know if it was weird for you, but it was kind of weird for me. And I've done this kind of thing before. I can only imagine how you feel one day being in the classroom, the next day being homeschooled. So, anyways, I missed you guys, and I'm looking forward to getting back into class soon so I can get to see you every day. I did want to go over our homework assignment from last night. You were supposed to watch the two videos, the one on what is culture and the other on the Amish, and answer a few questions. Most of you turned it in, not all of you, but most of you did. So I wanted to kind of go over that real quick, just so you can know if you were on the right track. First off, cultural traits are those things that kind of identify us, who we are as a culture, and that can be things like language and religion. Architecture, clothing. It can be all those things that go into making us us. It's funny because cultural traits at the same time can make us very unique, but can also show how we belong to other groups, which is, as you're going to see in the assignment today, if you haven't already, we're talking about cultural regions, and that's kind of what we're talking about. So let's go over the questions just real quick, and then I'll let you get back to your day. Question one was, how do you describe culture? I had a lot of different answers, but basically culture is who we are. It's all the things that we believe, all the things that kind of make us us, all those things that we just talked about. So if you said anything along those lines, you nailed it. Your book calls it activities and behaviors that people often take part in. Question two, describe as many different cultural traits as you observed while watching that first video. And so if you notice, there are a lot of different colors of people, ethnicities of people, ages of people, obviously lots of different languages being spoken. Body languages were a lot different. The way that you used facial expressions were different. All those would be cultural traits. Did anyone in the video surprise you? I had a few of you who said no, not at all. I asked that question because one particular guy did. This may be really stereotypical, but he was the Asian, young Asian guy, definitely dressed like what we see modern Asians wearing in Japan and Korea and places like that. And as he gets in front of the camera and begins to talk, this northern American voice comes out. And it did kind of catch me off guard a little bit. So just goes to show how sometimes we can stereotype cultures before we get to know people. Think about the last time you ate at a Japanese restaurant. Can you give me an example how cultural traits may differ from place to place? I had some of you talking about the artwork in the restaurant, pictures and things like that. And that would certainly be an example. I'm thinking if you look around the restaurant, you'll see some people who are using forks and knives and spoons to eat their food, even their sushi, forks in the sushi. You shouldn't do it. And then you see others using chopsticks. You see a variety of different dresses a lot of times. You hear a lot of different languages being spoken, even what people are eating. I mean, you may go in there and be very conservative and get the fried rice and the chicken or the beef or something, and your friend may be going in there and getting the squid and the octopus. So once again, you see a lot of differences there. And after watching the attached video, who were the Amish? And describe what some of their cultural traits were and how those traits might be linked. And so I think most of you nailed it. The Amish were very traditional. They're tied to an old Swiss German Deutsch Christian value, and everything they do is linked to that. The way that they dress conservatively, the way that they're very private people, don't integrate into society a lot. They don't believe in higher education because that would require their young people to go outside of the community, and they don't want that. They stay away from technologies. They don't use tractors. They use horses. They don't use cell phones. A lot of them don't have electricity. And the language that they speak still really is kind of one that's mainly used within their community. All of those different cultural traits all linked together because to them, it all reflects back on their religious thought. So, cultural traits, who we are, what makes us us, and a lot of times these can be independent, and a lot of times they can be linked together. Today we're talking about cultural groups and how different groups of people kind of band together around the world. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.